Pinkster here, welcome back. I'm trying to get this video done. I've done it a couple times, didn't like how it turned out. Let's try it this time. And I want to talk about how the geography of the United States is blessed. And I apologize because you got maybe some background sounds, but it is what it is. And I want to put a video by Peter Zeihan, who's somebody I've been listening a lot to lately, in the description box. And he starts off with saying one of the blessings that we've had is the Mississippi River and all the rivers going into it. And so I want you to think of the Missouri River going west to east and the Ohio River going east to west, feeding into the Mississippi River. And the shoreline around that is some of the most navigable waters, or the largest set of navigable waters by length in the world, and it beats the rest of the world combined, which is something I did not know. And what it did was allowed the United States early on to transport goods at a less expensive rate to various markets. And we think about how important this is that in the age of exploration, when they had the Silk Road going from China to Europe, it had to travel, you had to have a lot of people, the goods had to change hands many times, and it made it a lot more expensive. It was a lot less expensive if one can get all those materials on a boat with less people and sail it. So that's why we had Portugal trying to sell around Africa to get to India or to the east, and why Columbus eventually tried to get there selling west to get to the east. And when the Europeans figured out that there was two new continents in the way, the New World, they were looking for what's called the Northwest Passage to get through, still try to sail through that area. And so that was one of the things that the United States have a lot of navigable rivers that they can move products very cheaply. So the cost of getting goods to market was a lot less. So a lot of capital could be built up. Another thing is having the two coasts, the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans, were one, defensive barriers, but also allowed trade to go in either direction, either to Europe or to Asia. So allowed trade to happen with the other countries, on either side. If Europe was in decline or in recession, we could trade with Asia, and vice versa. So, and our land had a lot of natural resources. So we had probably the best arable land in the world in what we call the breadbasket. We were able to grow almost all the food for America and have surplus to send elsewhere. And a lot of times the farming problem is we have too much that the price goes down, not that we don't have enough. And fertilizer we can get very cheaply from Canada or ourselves, whereas the rest of the world that brought on arable land, they're having they had to have through fertilizers that came from Russia and Ukraine, which now, because of the war going on there, it's off the market. So they're going to have a lot more challenges in the food department than we are. We have a lot of natural resources in oil that started actually out in the Pennsylvania area, through Texas, and through shale. We're able to should be energy independent. More or less the political class will screw that up. Iron ore, a lot of other natural materials that we use, we can have here. We don't really have to trade for to get. We have maybe things like bananas or coffee. Coffee's grown in Hawaii, but a lot of things, things like that we have to import. But almost all our natural resources we have we can get in the country. Our borders, Canada, we really don't have an issue with. Nobody's really going to come through Canada, or if they do, we will know well in advance. Mexico, because of the terrain, would make it difficult for an army to get through. However, migrants can get through because of the failure of the political class to stop. And that's, we're susceptible to an asymmetrical warfare such as 9/11, but that's not due to our territory, that's due to the political class screwing up. So those are some things I want to talk about as far as the blessings of our geography that we have and what allowed America to be as great as it is. And my next video I want to talk about, I'm going to try to get it out today, is how faith and the founders work together. See you then.